8 years. For 8 years, a camera lay half buried in the red clay of Oklahoma, a silent witness to a man's disappearance. When a farmer's boy found it in 1911, the brass nameplate was still legible. C.F. Noonan, New York. This was Charlie Noonan's camera, and inside, undeveloped, were the last photographs he ever took. His widow, Ellie, with trembling hands, had the plates developed. Most were just as she expected, scenes from his journey documenting Southern folklore. Landscapes, small towns, the faces of people who shared their stories. But the last photograph was different. Let's go back 6 years. 2/80/97. A 24-year-old Charles Noonan leaves New York with a notebook and an obsession: to travel the South, collecting its folklore and supernatural beliefs. His early letters were full of wonder Louisiana voodoo, Heragia, Haynes Appalachian Tales, but as he ventured deeper, the tone of his letters shifted. They became shorter, Morecajus. From Arkansas, he wrote. Here, magic is quieter, meaner. They practice it the way you de-set a bear trap, with deliberate malice and the expectation of blood. He met a woman in the Ozarks who showed him a jar of teeth buried under her porch. Each one, she claimed, from someone who'd wronged her. In Mississippi, a man told him he could send his spirit out at night to torment his enemies. Charlie, against his better judgment, went to the house the man described. Through the window, I saw a dark, formless shape hovering over a sleeping child. The child died that night, of unexplained causes. Charlie crossed out a line in his journal. It originally read, "I am documenting folklore." What remained was, "I am documenting truth we've chosen to forget." Fast forward to late October, 1903. Charlie is in Oklahoma Territory. A homesteader named Christopher Johnston finds him and delivers a warning. He tells Charlie about an abandoned homestead 15 miles away, a place that isn't truly abandoned. A woman lives there, he says, but no one can agree on what she looks like. Sometimes she's beautiful, sometimes hideous, young or ancient. The only constant in every story is the dog, a massive German shepherd with eyes that glow red in the dark, Johnston told him. Ranch hands tried to run her off years back. Only one came back. Kept saying it's not a woman over and over until they took him to the asylum. He gripped Charlie's arm, his voice low. "Don't go, son. There's a hole in the world there, and something's looking through it." Charlie thanked him for the warning. Then he asked for directions. It took him 2 days to find the clearing. The homestead sat there, a simple wooden house with a sagging porch. It looked like 100 other abandoned farms, except for the silence. No birds, no insects. The air was unnaturally still. Charlie stood at the edge of the trees, a feeling of deep wrongness crawling up his spine. He raised his camera. The click of the shutter was deafening in the quiet. That's when the dog appeared. It was enormous, its black and tan coat seeming to shift in the light, as if it couldn't quite decide on its own form. It turned its head, and Charlie saw its eyes. They were a deep, luminous red. The animal stared at him with an intelligence that was utterly unnatural, as if it were sizing him up. With shaking hands, Charlie took another photograph. The dog's ears twitched at the sound. It didn't run, it didn't bark. It just walked, back behind the barn. Any sane person would have left, but Charlie wasn't sane anymore. He was obsessed. He walked into the clearing, and there she was, sitting on the porch. He hadn't heard a door open. She was just, Dede? A woman in a plain calico dress, her dark hair in a braid, but her skin was too perfect. Her hands had fingers that were just a little too long, that bent at odd angles. Her face was like a mask that almost fit, a copy of a human face made by something that had never truly seen one. "You're the folklorist," she said. Her voice was pleasant, with no accent at all, which was, in itself, wrong. Charles Frederick Noonan from New York. She smiled, revealing teeth that were too perfect. Word. Travels. The red-eyed dog sat at her feet, never looking away from Charlie. The locals say you're not human, Charlie managed to say. They say I'm something wrong, she agreed, tilting her head at an impossible angle. What do you think, Mr. Noonan? Do you believe their stories? I document beliefs. Whether I believe them is irrelevant. But you want to, she whispered. You're tired of collecting folklore. You want to collect truth. Would you like to know the truth, Mr. Noonan? Every fiber of his being screamed at him to run, but he'd come too far. Yes, he breathed. Then take your photograph. One last photograph. That's what you do. You make records. Charlie raised his camera. Through the viewfinder, he saw her, the dog at her side, the house behind them. But he also saw something else, something only visible through the lens. The shadows behind her were moving on their own, writhing like living things, and one shadow was impossibly tall and angular, stretching up into the sky. The dog's reflection in a broken pane of glass wasn't a dog at all. Click. There, she said, though her lips didn't move. Now you have your truth. What are you? She smiled, and this time, Charlie saw the vast, ancient, inhuman thing that wore her face like a costume. I'm what happens when old places remember what they used to be. I'm what you've been looking for. The dog stepped forward, its mouth opening to reveal rows upon rows of teeth. Stories have teeth, Mr. Noonan. The woman's voice echoed from all around him. Stories have appetites. Charlie tried to run, but his feet were stuck. The red clay was rising up his legs, pulling him down into the earth. You'll become part of the folklore you love, she said. They'll tell stories about the folklorist who vanished. You'll be immortal. The last thing he saw was her face dropping its human disguise, revealing a nightmare of too many eyes and impossible geometry. The last thing he heard was, "Don't worry about your camera. We'll make sure someone finds it. Stories need to be told." Back in 1911, when Ellie developed that final photograph, it showed a woman in a plain dress and a dog in front of an old house. Unremarkable. Except in the shadows behind the woman, barely visible, was another figure. Tall, impossibly thin, its limbs bent all wrong. The dog's eyes glowed red, even in black and white. And at the bottom of the frame, a hand, reaching up from the dirt. Ellie showed it to the police. 2 investigators. They saw a woman and a dog. A trick of the light, they said. But Ellie knew. Some truths don't show up for everyone. The photograph eventually ended up in a museum. Most people glance at it and move on. But every now and then, someone stops. Their face goes pale. The shadows, they whisper. Did you see what's in the shadows? The homestead is gone now, but locals still avoid that clearing. They say on quiet nights, you can see red eyes glowing in the dark. So if you ever find yourself in Oklahoma, and someone warns you about a place where the silence is too deep, and the shadows move on their only sentute, don't be like Charlie Noonan. Don't believe a camera can protect you. Some photographs should never be taken. Because when you document something, you invite it to notice you. And once it notices you, well, you can't ask Charlie what happens next. He's been missing for over 100 years. But if you see a man in old-fashioned clothes holding a camera, trying to warn you away, just run. And pray you're not already in the picture he's taking of you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.